All right, guys, good morning. This is going to be a class on bug out bags, oh shit bags, get home bags, what the hell just happened bag, that type of stuff. All right, there's a million names for them, but it's all basically the same thing. So let's get going. So, oh shit bags. These bags are bug out bags. These bags have a lot of names for people: bug out bags, get home bags, shit hit the fan bags, etc. Most people do not really understand the purpose of these bags. They just want them mostly because they sound cool. So here is what I call an oh shit bag is for. So this is what my opinion are for. To get to a predetermined place that you know will be safe, such as getting home, to work, to a parent's house, etc. They are short duration bags that can keep you going until you reach that safe area. If you are bugging out from your safe location or a home and have nowhere to go, you are not bugging out, you are a refugee. And you're going to need a whole lot more supplies to get you and your family there if you have a family than you can usually carry in what's called a bug out bag. They're actually two different things, and people confuse them all the time. Right, let's go. Right, the bag. So your bag needs to be small enough to carry easily and must be able to hold all the items you think you're going to need. We're going to discuss that later. It's got to be made of tough, durable material, and it has to be adjustable with a few outside pockets for easy access to items you might need quickly, and a couple of attaching points. All right. My personal bag is small, about a day pack size, good strong material with two outside pockets, one medium pocket and one large pocket. It has attachment points for adding items like canteens or a machete. It weighs less than 15 pounds when packed. All right. Now here's some things you want to avoid. You do not want a bag with a camelback or other water bladder installed in it. They seem cool, but these bladders have to be removed from the pack to fill up the water reservoir, which means you might have to empty your pack or at least stop and take it off, then remove stuff. This prevents you from moving quickly if there is a need and your stuff is already taken apart. Also, if this is your only drinking device, if you have to stop to fill it up, you have to purify the new water, which means it can take 20 to 30 minutes depending on the purification method used. It's a long time to go without water depending on weather, your physical condition, and the environment. You do not want a larger bag and then only fill it half full, like a regular Alice pack from the military, because people tend to keep adding stuff if there's room, and you could end up with a 40 or 50-pound pack. All right. So what to carry? And once again, this is just my take on what you need to carry in your bag. You do not want to carry any food that requires preparation. Also, you do not want to carry dehydrated food that requires water. Ideally, you want to carry food that you can eat right out of the package without heating or preparation. This includes things like beef jerky, tuna, chicken, or salmon packets, peanuts, meat sticks, other types of nuts, trail mix, protein or energy bars. You get the idea. So why? Because if you are bugging out, a fire even with a stove is going to take time and it's going to draw attention to you and your location. If you are in this mode of travel, you also have limited water resources, more than likely, so you do not want to have to use it to rehydrate food. The type of food I talked about allows you to eat on the move, and it's going to help you increase your daily distance, and it's going to give you all the energy and food you need, all right? One other thing, never put food that melts into your pack. This includes chocolate. You do not want to have melted food items in your pack. It just gets messy, draws bugs and rodents and other stuff. Okay? So, what to carry concerning water? All right, I carry two 1 quart military canteens in my kit with two canteen cups. This allows you to drink while you're moving. It also allows you to fill an empty canteen, purify it, and drink from your second canteen. This way you always have drinkable water and you're purifying more for drinking later while still moving. I carry multiple ways to purify water: iodine tablets, purifying straw, etc. The canteen cups can be used to boil water to purify it if you need to. All right. If you want something hot to drink, like in cold weather, I carry hot chocolate, instant coffee, and bouillon cubes. After you boil water to fill your canteens, boil another canteen cup for drinking. One of these three things. I prefer bouillon cubes because they are overall better for you. They have minerals and vitamins and stuff in them when you are conducting this type of movement and physical exertion. If you want to cook something, make sure your canteens are filled first. Then get more water to cook with. Bring it to a boil, use it to heat or your food, or again, drink something hot. This way, if you have to move, you'll already have a full load of water on your person. All right, fire starting. I carry multiple items for starting a fire. Lighters, matches, flint and steel, batteries, birthday candles that you can't blow out, those trick ones, tea candles, mirror, cotton ball soaked in petroleum jelly, wood shavings, steel wool, fuel tabs, and a small bag of tinder. All right. Just remember, if your lighter runs out of fuel, you want to still keep it. An empty lighter is a flint and steel that is much easier to use than the actual flint and steel. An empty lighter can still create sparks and help you get fires going. Right. Personal hygiene and first aid. I carry a small airplane travel kit in my bag. It has toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, shaving, blah, 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 everything you need for a couple of days. I also carry 2 small packs of Kleenex. These I use for toilet paper. I also carry 2 small bottles of hand sanitizer. For first aid, I carry a small first aid kit with bandages, 5 small syringes of super glue, duct tape, and several sewing needles, along with travel containers of various over-the-counter medications, Tylenol, etc., and Advil, Tums, Imodium. Also a small tube of antibiotic cream. I also advise carrying something like Oragel for any tooth pain or gum issues. If you need specific medications or you are allergic to things, you need to carry those meds and an EpiPen in your pack also. So tools that you might want to carry. These are items that I would recommend you carry, but everybody's different. All right. So I carry a poncho liner, a small hand axe, 2-foot knife for machete, right? Steel camp stakes, 4, 10 nails, Swiss Army knife for Gerber multi-tool, duct tape and electrical tape, 550 parachute cord, 1-inch tubular nylon. I carry about 3 feet of that. A garden trowel. I use this for digging, burying my trash and my waste. Bungee cords. I carry about 6. Snap links. I carry at least 3. A flexible saw, aluminum foil. I carry 3 sheets of aluminum foil. Each one's about a foot by a foot. All right. And you want to carry trash bags. I carry 45-gallon trash bags, 3 of them. All right. What else to carry for shelter? I carry a military poncho and a small 6x6 tarp for making shelters. These 2 items, along with the tools list, will allow you to make either a temporary or long-term shelter to protect you from the elements when needed. All right. I also carry a small hammock that can be easily set up and taken down. It is advisable whenever possible because you do not want to sleep or sit on the ground for prolonged periods because you're going to draw bugs and other critters and stuff when stopping. And you definitely don't want to sit on the ground or lay on the ground in snow or rainy weather. So communication and signaling. So I don't carry anything to actually voice over radio talk, right? Because I don't really know who I'm going to talk to. I have a cell phone. So yeah. I carry a small AM/FM radio with an earpiece that's rechargeable. I carry a solar-powered battery bank to recharge the radio on my cell phone. I have a solar-powered inflatable lantern. I have a rechargeable flashlight. I carry chem lights and a signal mirror. So listed here is, a couple of things I carry. They're all easy to use, and so what to carry: hunting, trapping, and fishing. I carry a pocket fisherman. Yeah, you can still get them, and yes, they work. Also, extra fishing line, hooks, and floats. I carry small binoculars, or you can carry a small telescope. I carry snare wire and 550 cord to make traps. I also carry a small 22 caliber precision handgun with 200 rounds for hunting and protection if necessary. With these items, depending on the environment I'm moving through, I can theoretically obtain enough food to keep going for months. If possible and you have time to hunt and fish or trap, and the environment's safe to do so, then you want to eat the fresh food that you get first and save any of that long-term stuff, like your beef jerky and things, for when you will not have time to hunt and fish or you ain't going to catch anything. All right. How to use the bug out bag once you have one built. The bag should be packed with things you're going to need the most often, placed in the outer pockets and on top in the larger pockets. Items used for shelter, such as poncho or tarp, need to be carried on the outside of the bag. I carry mine on the bottom of the bag. All right. This way, if they get wet when you use them and you take them down, they'll be outside drying, not on the inside of your pack, getting everything wet. Outside pockets, I carry food, medicine, signal device, disposable rain jacket, water purification, Kleenex for toilet paper. Inner pockets, the larger items, first aid, larger food items, bungee cords, trowel, personal hygiene, radio, saw, flexible saw, nails, etc. It's just a general guide. You can pack it any way you want to. It's going to depend on your experience. A lot of times there's things you can transfer from the bag to your body carry to make them more accessible. These items include things like the compass, a map if you have one, knife, canteen, food pockets, radio, etc. Sometimes you will want to move things out of your pack and place them on the outside. And these are things like anything that needs a solar charge. This way those things can recharge while you're moving during the day. All right, other things to consider. When using a radio, only use one earplug. Do not use headphones to block your ability to hear. Do not let the radio play out loud. The sound can give away your position. Use the flexible saw when cutting wood. You do not want to dull your bladed tools. Always bury and cover your waste. You do not want people tracking you or finding you by just throwing it out. When stopping, if you need to remove your footwear, take off one at a time to change socks or do other foot maintenance. This way, if you need to leave in a hurry or move, you only have to put on one shoe back on. Do not build a fire unless you absolutely have to. Use heat tabs to heat a canteen of water for cooking or getting a hot beverage. It is faster and gives you less of a signature when you're stationary. You want to put some electrical tape around the handles of your canteen cups to lower the noise because they bang against each other. All right, whenever you come across a good water source, drink the canteen you are using. Then fill it up and purify it. Transfer your other canteen to your drinking side. You never know when you're going to come across good water, so you always want to keep your canteens as full as possible, and you want to drink as much as possible. If you use a life straw for drinking water, you want to fill up your canteen cup and drink from it. Never drink straight from the source. This is because your head is down and running water will interfere with your hearing and also limit your vision. Also, it puts your face closer to natural threats like water moccasins. If you stop for the night, do all your eating first, then personal hygiene and body maintenance, then repack your pack. This will keep you from having to try to pack it in the dark if you have to move for some reason, right? Always take inventory after you stop and you're getting ready to move again. Look around your area, check your pack, pat down your pockets. You do not want to leave anything behind. Use your trash bags. Place your bug out bag in if it's raining while stopped, to keep it dry. The larger ones you can cut holes in to make a rain poncho to cover you and your bag to carry. It's going to help you stay dry in the rain. You can also fill them with pine straw and leaves to sit or lay on. It's going to help keep you warmer and drier if it's wet or snowy out. All right, there are things in your vehicle you might want to take with you. Your MacBook, your Garmin or TomTom, water, basically anything usable that will not wear you down. Do not lock your vehicle. People are just going to break in the windows to loot it because they're going to be looking for stuff too. I would disconnect the battery. All right. Many people nowadays wear shower shoes, flip-flops in their daily lives. So carry a pair of tennis shoes, hiking boots, whatever you have or want, with some socks in your car and change out before you start your journey. The radio carrying. If you want to save the battery, listen to the radio on the hour and the half hour. This is going to save battery life and recharging time, and most major announcements are made on the hour and at the half hour. All right. If you get some small game or fish, use your aluminum foil to cook it on the coals. You wrap it in the foil and place it in the coals to cook. This way you do not have to keep a fire going to cook, which lowers your profile of observation from other people. All right. If you build a fire to cook or boil water, and you do not need it for warmth, once you have finished, put the fire out and move away from it. Light and fires are easy to see at night and smell. You need to move away from it in case someone noticed your fire and is coming to investigate. Your sleeping position should not be in the same location where you cook or build a fire. Stay away from buildings, vehicles when stopping for the night. If you want to look through them for items to help yourself, you observe it first. You observe it preferably at night, then go on in the morning, if you are sure no one is there. Buildings and vehicles draw people to them for shelter and looking for aid. That's why you want to avoid them unless it's super bad weather and you need a stronger shelter than you can make yourself. You want to make yourself a walking staff about 6 foot long, sharpen both ends. This will help your movement, especially at night and over uneven terrain. It is also a good initial defense tool in case you're attacked. You always want to observe a building before entering, road or bridge before crossing. Use your binocular telescope to observe it at night. This is when people make the most mistakes. They're cooking, they use the light to move around, etc. When you cross a linear danger area, a road, cross low to the ground, cross fast, always cross at a bend in the road. This limits the distance that any threat can have observing down the road. They can't see around corners. All right. When you stop for the night, you want to move at least 100 yards off your route of travel, road, railroad tracks, trail. Move either 50 foot left or right, and then come back 10 yards. Then find a place in the dense brush or other concealment to sleep. Remember, if you're going to have a fire, then you're going to have to move again when you're done. So you do this, especially moving 10 yards back down your trail. So if somebody's following you, you're going to hear them move along the trail that you were just on. It's going to give you a heads up, and you can go ahead and, if your shit should be packed, and you can go ahead and move out, keep going. If you use chemical light sticks, you cannot turn them off, so you need to stick them straight down into the ground when you're done with them so they cannot be seen. Even a stick that keeps giving off light still gives off a little light. Trust me, they can be seen at night. So, advice on the internet. So I'm on multiple prepper, shit hit the fan, and other end of the world sites, and I see a lot of advice being given out and people talking about different things. I try to help people, but people need to be aware of those who are giving out bad advice, which can cost them money, time, effort, and doing things that will not work or will not work the way they want. So a few things or opinions for myself. You do not need $300 combat boots, hiking shoes to fight the end of the world or whatever you're prepping for. If you can walk in tennis shoes, get them. Just no open-toed shoes. You just need to walk in something that's going to protect your feet and not give you blisters. You do not need to carry 40 pounds of gear to get home. In fact, anything under 40 miles, you probably do not need anything except maybe some water. I've seen videos on this net. This one guy made a 6 mile movement from work to home and he GoPro'd the whole thing. He stopped twice, he ate, took a nap, and it took him about 5 hours. So the Army standard 12-mile road march time is 3 hours for the 45-pound pack, not including water and weapon. Guys, you don't have to move fast, but you you really don't need a lot of this stuff just to walk 10 miles to get home. But if you cannot walk, guys, if you cannot walk at your own pace for at least 10 miles a day to get home without having to stop every hour, it's not an issue. It's going to take you longer to get home. It's kind of pathetic, but you don't need to carry all this equipment, if you're moving less than 20 miles, basically. You do not need expensive equipment or fancy gadgets in your bug out bag. People are on there always recommending stuff and selling stuff and they sponsor shit and it's all cool, but you don't need it. All right, to get home to your safe area. As a matter of fact, if you got a Boy Scout store nearby, you can probably go in there and get most of the stuff you need from them. And that includes camping equipment, flint and steels, etc. And then learn to use what you have proficiently. You do not need to practice sometimes with your stuff you'll have on you during your bug out, but you do need to practice. You do need to practice. All right, let me start this over. All right, you do need to practice sometimes with the stuff you have on you during your bug out. You want to make sure you can start a fire with flint and steel if that's all you're going to take with you. You want to be able to understand how to make a waterproof shelter, etc. But you do not need to practice 4-hour movements carrying 50 pounds of gear. I had a team sergeant once, and this was his favorite saying. He was a ranger instructor, Grenada ranger and stuff. You don't need to practice to be miserable. It's going to happen anyway. There's not a fucking thing you can do. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. All right? So you don't need to practice being miserable. Be aware of the advice you get on the internet. There are some. Don't even get me started. So remember, a bug out bag is for staying alive. If you're stopped somewhere for extended period for getting home, uh, or getting you to a safe area you already know about or have, or for moving towards a safety, such as a city or other safe haven, while you are moving in a vehicle away from your own home or safe area. Right? If you are leaving your home in a safe area because you have to, lots of services destroyed, there's looters, there's zombies, whatever, you are not bugging out. You are now a refugee. And whoever is moving with you is a refugee. That is a whole other animal for prepping and moving, because more than likely you're never coming back and you're going to need to move family, kids, elders, animals, you know, whatever you have. I'll try to do another class for that later on, but for a refugee movement, you're not taking a bug out bag. You're moving. All right. So why do I carry what I carry? I've had this question a lot. So I show my bag and some of the items I carry for what the hell just happen scenarios. I also have a bag for my wife set up with things a woman will need for hygiene purposes and different types of radios, because you never want to carry the exact same thing. All right. So I travel a lot by driving. It's what I do for work. I drive through mountains in all weather, and I drive through deserts and high plains. I drive everywhere I can in the States because I prefer driving when I'm working. If I break down, my bag gives me food, shelter, and water until help arrives. If I have to move towards help, it gives me the same thing. If I am stuck in the mountains for 10 hours because of a car wreck and bad weather, it gives me the same thing. This has happened before. All I did was I just turned my car off, moved next to it on the shoulder, got the radio out, made some hot chocolate, and waited instead of burning up all my gas, waiting for emergency services to try to get up the mountain and move everything. My bag is set up so I have food and water for 7 days, depending on how often I eat. Usually when I travel, I have car snacks so I can last longer if stuck by the car. I can survive longer with hunting, trapping, and fishing if I need to. Also, both my vehicles in the trunk have one of those 3-day emergency food buckets you can get in Walmart's in the bulk item section. They cost $20, and there's a water straw in there and 3 days worth of food. All right, I'm telling you guys this because you need to determine what the longest movement you will make is going to take you to get home. And you need to adjust your bag contacts accordingly. I mean, if you got a short movement, you can have a bag that weighs less than 5 pounds. If you never travel long distance by car, then go with the longest distance you do travel, say 20 miles to a town, and stock your bag accordingly. As far as weapons go, this is on you. I've seen guys giving advice that you need to carry a handgun or rifle with you because you're bugging out and everybody else is bugging out and they're going to want to kill you or take all your shit, and looters and blah, blah, blah. This is totally up to you. I carry a gun, or I have one in my vehicle, or, my bug out bag. But most people are not proficient with weapons, or not proficient in weapons use. And I'm not talking about hitting a paper target. They do not know when they should use your weapon, and this is a bad place to be in any scenario when you're trying to get to your safe area. You pull a gun on the wrong person, they could just start shooting. You show people you have a firearm, they could start following you to try to take it from them because they look at it as if they got a gun, they're better protected, and they're going to try to take it from you. People who are not used to being in stressful situations tend to use firearms to intimidate, scare people, or just because they themselves are afraid. Again, this can get you into a lot of trouble, so just be careful. All right, questions. Hit me up with any specific questions you have to help you get home safely. What if everything you can think of when you stock your bag for the route you have to travel? I mean, your bag could just consist of trail mix and an extra pair of socks and water. Just depends on what your situation is. There are a million ways to do this. I do not want to fight or argue with people who do it differently. I am just giving suggestions based on a 24-year military career with 20 of that being in U.S. Army Special Forces. I have worked and lived and moved by foot in third world countries all over the world in any type of environment you can think of. Jungle, desert, high desert plain, mountains. I've done it. Uh, so take it for what it's worth. I want everybody to be safe. If you got questions, hit me up. And thanks for listening.